What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Filsinger Games Character Spotlight with Mike and Brock.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Brock, and we are joined again by Jeff Manning.
Who is Jeff Manning?
Whoever that is.
He's the guy you celebrate on Rusev Day. I'm a little disappointed you don't have a Young Bucks shirt this time, Brock.
We're all wearing wrestling shirts.
Oh, yeah?
I got.
I didn't see yours.
It's the team I coach.
Nice.
And this was the first year that the girls outnumbered the guys on the team. So I had the shirts ordered in pink and black.
Nice.
Nice. I have pink and black on my shirt, too.
I do not. I have white, red, green, so very festive.
Awesome. And we might be joined by others tonight. We're not sure.
Yep.
And if we are, we'll give them an introduction as well. We'll be talking about two classic characters from the War Games 2091 set, including Lance Atlas and Matador of M83.
And the topic is how do you go about building a card? So we can jump right into Lance Atlas.
Lance.
I loved when I saw that art. I loved the art.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of my favorite guys from that set.
He has a superhero feel to him.
Yeah, got that rugged. You know, it looks like he'd be a tough guy in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
I like that he was from Mars because oftentimes we got people from planets I wasn't really familiar with.
Yeah.
And that being so close to Earth, it was like, oh, so he's humanoid, similar to us, close by. So that was kind of neat to see.
I just thought it was a colony he was from. I didn't think he was actually there's a whole civilization there. I just thought they colonized Mars.
So we've already ruined Earth at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man,
very optimistic of the Canadian.
I mean, it's less than 100 years away, so let's be honest. It's going to happen.
Somebody's going to screw something up, and we're all leaving to Mars.
I mean, I saw Total Recall, so
that's where I got it from.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just whole civilization living underground of different aliens.
I don't want anybody having a baby pop out of their belly or something talking to people.
You never know.
But Lance, I mean, he was always, mid-card. I'm in 2100 now. A little update since the last time I've been on. I'm actually making my way through. Lance has only held the interplanetary title once, and it was only for 1 month, and then he got beat. He did have one run with Code of Honor as the tag champs too, but again, it was a 1 month reign. So, I mean, he was memorable to an extent, but he never really got over too much. Trying to remember who he lost the belt to. See, he lost the belt to Bounty Hunter for the interplanetary. And he did have a good feud with Bounty Hunter, but Bounty Hunter pretty much destroyed him, at least in my fed. And then the Code of Honor, they won the title from Traders of Neptune, who's actually had 2 runs in my fed, actually 3 runs total. But
question: Who's Code of Honor?
Justice and Lance Atlas.
Oh, okay.
That's what their name was officially. But then they dropped the belt to Traders of Neptune the very next month. So honestly, losing to Cannibal and Vanity. Now Vanity did have outside interference on his side. He always had Sweet Thing there, and Cannibal was highly underrated, I think, with the throat slit. And honestly, he really didn't get DQ'd too much for me, which I think is a big drawback for him. But for me, it hasn't been. He's usually been able to sneak it in. So Lance Atlas, those were his main rivals, I'd say, in my fed. Again, he's memorable, but not over the top.
Yeah, for me, he did. Well, he still wrestles for me since he's ages slowly. I plan on using him for another 20 years. He captured the War Game singles. That was his first title. And then he went on to capture 2 Intergalaxian tag team titles with Octagon. I called them the Supreme Gods. and he has held 3 Intergalaxian singles. So he's done a little better than average. He's won most of his, I'd say, for feuds. He's done pretty good. His very first feud was against Tendron, because that's how I introduced him. That was his. I staged a whole thing around him where Proteus and Man Mountain turned on Lightning and Octagon, and they were joined by Tendron. So Proteus, Man Mountain, and Tendron became the Lynch Mob. And they feuded Octagon and Lightning, but they needed a partner, and so they brought in Lance Atlas, who's technically a god with the Atlas thing, and that's how I introduced 2 new characters.
So the question is, with Lance Atlas, if they made a statue of him, would he be holding up Mars?
Yes. I'm looking at his bio on COTG Online. It says hailing from Regal is his, or Regal, however you pronounce it, is the first line of his bio. The quiet and reserved Atlas entered the GWF as a member of the Supreme Gods. Atlas is an unusual specimen for his people, live for millennia and thus age more slowly, as Mike already pointed out.
So, yeah, I got plans to use him. I had him coming in at a solid 6'3", 250 pounds.
His official listing is 6 foot and 1/2 inch, 250 pounds.
He doesn't look that big to me. I mean, I guess he does. I always just saw him as middle card, so I thought he was a little bit slimmer. I mean, the 6'1" fit, I think. But I thought he was probably more like 220, 225. But a lot of guys look bigger in their cards, or they're listed bigger than I would envision them.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, the heights and weights are way off.
But that's evolution.
True.
Maybe that is small in his day.
Well, maybe in Wriggle the atmosphere is more dense, or the gravitational pull or something. So,
What did he do for you, Brock?
he's one of those guys that I couldn't really get behind for whatever reason, so I didn't use him a whole lot. He was kind of like a setup guy. If a good guy had a main title, like, oh, if you get past Lance Atlas, you'll get a title shot. But I don't remember him holding any titles for me at all, really. He's more of a setup guy.
I think you've said that for all 3 characters I've heard from you.
That's what I say.
Can't really get behind it.
Couldn't get behind it. You got to remember, this is the time when I was trying to play like major catch up.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys kind of just got lost in the shuffle. My history is pretty sparse because I was trying to do a lot. So it's time to reboot.
Reboots are nice. I like the artwork. I don't see any reason to play it where I'm currently at, because I'm still playing.
Yeah. You're well beyond the reimagined stuff.
But the artwork's, it's nice.
What does his reimagine look like?
He looks totally different, actually. Let me see if I can find it. You guys can keep talking, and I'll.
Because that's Lance Atlas. That's a Larry Snelly drawing, isn't it?
Yeah, we're still on Snelly, right?
Yeah.
This is a Chuck Carter.
Chuck Carter. Yeah, because it's 2091. Snelly
Yeah.
didn't come in.
Yeah. I couldn't remember. I was thinking, like, it's got the thick lines of Carter, but were we in?
Yeah, Snelly didn't come in until 94.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with Raven and not Raven, Dregs and Mace.
Yeah, the New Order.
All right, let me pull up his reimagined artwork for you guys.
I'm excited.
I can tell. Here we go.
I haven't seen it, I don't think.
There it is.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
Yeah, I don't like it.
He definitely looks more like a supreme god there.
Oh, yeah.
I will say that.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean,
Yeah.
it fits the description of how he was introduced, but I don't feel like it fits his full storyline. I feel like the original art fits his full storyline more.
Would it be different if he had pants?
Maybe. No pants with that cape on.
I know this drawing kind of split the community. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people hated it.
Yeah, I'm not one for it.
I don't mind the drawing. I just don't think it's Lance Atlas to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was a different character, perhaps. But I did forget honestly that he came in with the Supreme Gods originally. So maybe that was the draw to that picture. I could see that.
Yeah.
He looks more like a Poseidon now. I mean, I feel like, but he's not underwater. Yeah, you shouldn't have brought that reimagined set up. It's fine. We want the original. No offense to Warner. Great artwork.
Oh, the artwork's good. I just don't picture it as Lance.
Just not my Lance Atlas. I always felt with the name like Lance, you either had to be, you know, really muscular because you got to defend yourself. People are gonna make fun of you if you're a Lance. It's not a very strong name. I feel like Lances throughout time had to be, you know, very testosterone fueled.
Really, Lance Bass?
Well, I didn't say he did. I said you have to go one way or the other. I was going to stay away from the other alternative as a Lance. Okay. You got to be
Lance Bass. He was trying to go to space.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. He wanted to go bye.
Can you blame him?
So how would you go about making Lance Atlas just a touch better? How would you creep him?
Gosh. I don't have his card in front of me. Let me bring it up.
He's already pretty good.
I'd make the level 4 move on his level 2 offense a down 3.
Okay. Just to be different, I'll take away the level 2 move on level 3 offense. Flying elbow smash on number 1. Make that a level 3 move. Bump all that up.
That's always a killer.
Because other than that, he's pretty solid.
Yeah.
His defense is great. He only has 1 down on his card.
Which can make for some long matches.
Mm-hmm, with a leave option on it. So,
I mean, you could always go with the... What did Mike say? I want to make sure I don't duplicate what he said.
His level 4 move, turn that into a down 3.
Yeah, his level 2 offense. Mm-hmm. 4.
3 downs.
Yeah. Man, you guys took both really good ones.
You can
choice F though.
It's possible to agree.
I mean, that's where I would have started was level 2 offense, move 4. I think that's the easier one for him because he has such strong defense. If he has those 3 level 3s on level 2, he's gonna dominate someone.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, everything's not bad. Even looking at his ratings, like agility's -2, that's decent. Power's 0, that's not bad when you have a -2 agility at that time period, especially.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's really solid.
Even had a tag thrown in there. He's an overall decent wrestler.
He is.
He probably should have done better in most people's feds, but I think because the power creep had started to really come in, and some of these guys that were there, you know, Spike had already been upgraded. You had Cosmic Big Bang, Star Warrior, Thantos. Bounty Hunter was, you know, pretty solid. So there were a lot of top singles guys out there. Bishop Hell,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's listed as an upper mid carder, and he just was very vanilla. I mean, he was very bland. He didn't really have a great story. I mean, the story really branches out once you get to Centra, but during this time period, I feel like he was just an add-on, like, hey, and here's another good guy, kind of like how Brock used him.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with it. He was able to capture a couple titles, obviously, for me and for Mike, and Brock forgot he existed, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm. That's what happens. But he did have a great mullet.
He did, which was classic for the time period. I never thought the mullets would be around in 2091, but the way 2022 is looking,
they'll definitely be around.
They will definitely have a resurgence around that time period.
As long as there's an NHL, you will always have the mullet.
I think by then it'll be the UHL, like the Universal Hockey League or the Galactic Hockey League.
There you go.
It'll probably be more similar to a Mutant League Hockey like I had on Sega Genesis. Excellent, by the way. Not as good as Mutant League Football, but excellent.
It's a great series.
It was.
I never played that. I played the Robo Baseball on the Nintendo.
Base Wars?
Might have been. Everyone was a robot.
that was Base Wars where you could buy weapons and you had fights at the bases.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Also an awesome game.
Yeah, that's for the old Nintendo. The first
Yes.
first gen.
We call that the NES, the
Yes.
Nintendo Entertainment System.
Because they're all Nintendo.
Yeah, they're all Nintendo, but it's the NES. It was the entertainment system.
I just thought it broke up to like, N64 and GameCube and
Super NES.
Don't forget that one.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, King Griffey Jr. Baseball on that. Fantastic. One of my favorite games of all time. The first one, not the second one. The second one was probably a better game, but I think the first one was more fun.
Yeah, I went from Nintendo to the Sega just because of baseball talk. That was the best baseball game.
I don't remember that one.
That-
Gotta be
that-
honest.
It was funny because I'm playing it. I'm like, I lost to the computer the first time I played it. And I'm like, how does this happen? And then you're playing the computer. All of a sudden, the computer will do a double steal. You're like, what? Computers aren't supposed to do this. And you do the rundown. You could do the rundown trick on Nintendo where you just go back and forth and you can, steal all the way around the bases. Yeah, they didn't do that. The guys would literally run towards you and I'm tagged out.
So what you're telling me is your CPU could out defeat you on like 16-bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, it could. Not gonna lie. So next we'll slide over to the man of the hour, the one who a lot of people wanted to talk about, but no one but showed other than Jeff.
Yeah. I guess we
Hey.
take what we get.
Yep.
Hey, he's been my avatar before. He's been on my GWF board a lot. My all-time favorite drawing, hands down. If I was ever gonna have anything redrawn and done up in color, that would be the card right there. I was so happy. That was my favorite card to see when I got a COTG online, and I really liked the coloring online too.
Oh, that new card. The first time I saw it a couple of years ago when they debuted it at the Galacticon.
I didn't even look at it. I can't even remember what it looks like. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, it's great.
The original though, the pose, the back, the arrogance to have his back to the
same pose. It's just 180 degrees.
I don't know.
We're trying to find it right now. You can tell he's.
Yeah, I'm looking. I can't find a large picture of it, but I got one here. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about,
I think is just as good.
this isn't the reimagined card. This is the best of card. This is for the new starter set, Tournament of Champions.
I think that looks like a Daryl Banks.
It is Daryl Banks.
It's a good card, but the whole premise of the original is that he's showing his back to the opponents.
Yep.
To me, that's the arrogance level. It's like, I'm not even concerned about you. I'm going to stand this way and not acknowledge your existence. And then when you come at me, I'm going to pummel you. Like, it's the whole Olay factor of being the Matador. It just, to me, it was the artwork can't be touched. And that's one of the idea that the card never was touched. There was never an upgrade for him.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole storyline behind him, and I know he's my favorite. He's a lot of people's favorites. The fact that he's the Silver Surfer of the group. He's a very powerful person. He's a multi-time champion in most people's feds, but he wasn't the main eventer. You know, arguably Chaos comes the following year, and that's the main eventer, kind of like Galactus. You know, like that was the fact that he was that Silver Surfer. And Silver Surfer, before the MCU came out and all that stuff, was, one of the most likable anti-hero kind of good guys there was, because people really liked Silver Surfer. No, he doesn't have much of a character in the movies that they've put him in and stuff like that, but I think that just he was cool, and that's what Matador was. He was cool. He was cocky, he was arrogant, and he was going to be better than you. That's just who he was. And he would never say he played second fiddle to Chaos, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that's how he was presented in the game. But this just, I mean, the pose, I just could go on and on. I just love it. It's absolute favorite all time.
You're going with Silver Surfer as the Matador is the Silver Surfer of the COTG universe.
He was the herald to Chaos.
Yes. We didn't know it at the time, but it was.
Here's what I'll say. Matador, infinitely cooler than Chaos.
Yeah.
I love Matador. He's easily one of my top 5 favorites in the game of all time. When he come in, you know, the Citadel was versus the FDF. He was matched up against Spike, got creamed. And then he fought Thantos for the next 4 years and lost 3 of them, and then drew when Thantos got downgraded. Like, it took him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years to get his first feud win.
Wow.
He just couldn't get the ball rolling. He captured some titles. Like, he's a 4-time TV champ, a 1-time Intergalaxian champ, and now he's a 5-time GWF heavyweight champion. And now that he's teaming up with Chaos for the first time as a tag team, I got a feeling they're going to win the tag titles soon. So he's just, the last few years, he does good. He just can't win in feuds. Like, he just lost to Enigma.
Enigma's underrated, though. I will say that. I was surprised when I started playing with his card. He's better than I thought he would be. But I still don't think Matador should lose to him.
No, like, I was shocked. I was like, oh, man. And I don't have all the stuff. Normally I, keep the stuff, what they do, but he's still wrestling for me, so.
I like the index card system. That is nice.
That is cool. I wish I would have done something to keep records.
So I'll go on my records for Matador. He's a 4-time GWF champion, my Galaxian champion. He beat Spike for it the first time in March of 2092. So it took him about a year to capture his first main title. He dropped it to Thantos. Didn't recapture it again until mid 2093, also winning it from Thantos, then losing it to Alpha Force a couple months later. He did reignite his feud with Thantos in 2094, won the title, held it for about 3 months, lost it to Alpha Force. And then he eventually won against Alpha Force. Not until 2096 was his next run. And it was very short. It was only about a month and a half, lost it to Alpha Force again. So champion-wise, he hasn't had the longest reigns, but he has won it 4 times. His really claim to fame in my Fed is I have a version of the King of the Ring called the Ring Warrior Tournament. Behind closed doors, nobody ever sees it. We only find out the results after it happens because they get a guaranteed title shot the next month. But nobody knows who was entered in real life. I say in real life. In real life, it's my 8 best at the time. The top 8 in my rankings face off: number 1 versus number 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus So anyway, he has won that 3 times, which is his claim to fame in my Fed. The only other person to win it 3 times was Omega. And Omega won it 3 straight years, 2080, 81, and 82, whereas Matador won it in 93, 94, and 97. Now, the Citadel as a whole have won it 5 times, 3 of those obviously Matador, but then in 98, Chaos won, 99, Janus won. So Citadel's won 3 straight with those guys. So, but Matador was the first one that it was perfect because he got to talk down to Omega and stuff like that, which brought up a feud with an aging Star Warrior and Thantos at the time. So really fun feud in my Fed. And anything Matador based is good for me. I like it. But he was just suspended in my Fed for 3 months. It was supposed to be a loser leaves Fed match kind of, but I couldn't have Matador leave forever and he lost to Alpha Force. So I did it. Loser left for an indefinite amount of time. The commissioner reinstated him after 3 months because 3 months is where you've lost all your rankings in my Fed. You're basically back to start where you're at 0 points. So I felt like that was fitting. He had to start back from the bottom.
Matador, I've ran a bunch of pivotal storylines with him. I did the Randy Savage storyline with him where, he's this guy coming in and all the managers are bidding for his services.
Nice.
And he ended up choosing Kraken.
What?
So he ended up, befriending Kraken because Kraken needed a tag partner. Because I have a tag tournament. It used to be called the Solarcade Cup, and Kraken won it the first year with Genghis Khan, and then he won it the second year with Akuma. And the third year he's entering, but he's got no friends because he's now, the Kraken Hitman for hire. And so he puts in a bid and teams with Matador. So no one knows who Matador is, how good he is. and they go and win the tournament. And so his debut is in a tag tournament, and you know, he wins the tournament, and you know, it goes on from there. But he's done a lot of really cool things. He's my current heavyweight champion. He just beat the Janus. I have a massive tournament, which is I put together 132 wrestlers from all my different feds and some indie guys, and I run it once a year. It's called the Grand Championship. And Matador, you know, he's the #1 slot because he's the GWF heavyweight champion, and he made it to the final 16 before he got knocked out. I can't remember who knocked him out, but Janus won it, and Janus just got kicked out of the Citadel. So he was all on his own, and so, you know, he wins it. Now he gets to fight Matador for the heavyweight championship. So it worked out perfect. So I got this great storyline where they meet up again. And Brock, did he get lost in the shuffle with you?
No, he's a multi-time Galaxian champion for me. What I liked most about him is he wasn't really like an evil dude as far as like the villains go in this game. He was just good and could back it up, and that's why like the fans didn't like him or whatever. But he wasn't evil or anything like that. He was just better than everybody, which I thought was cool for the time, especially for when you had warmongers and terrorists and all that kind of stuff running around. He was just somebody who was better.
Here's something that's funny. When I got my card made in 2105, so we're at Galacticon, and Tom's like, let's have your official debut match. And he goes, you can fight the current GWF champion according to the the magazine, like the promoter.
Promoter, yeah.
And it was Matador. And so Tom had me match up against Matador, and Rob Bobian was Matador, and I played, you know, my Mike Fortune character, and I beat Matador in a non-title matchup in Tom's Fed, because we're rolling it for Tom's Fed. And Tom was like, this can't be right. Your card's not that good. And I'm like, it's just luck of the roll. Yeah. I got Matador down.
To shoot.
Rolled like four finishers in a row. So I just kept the hangman on, and you know, Rob eventually just rolled low enough.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I can't believe that. I'm like, yeah, my debut, I beat the Matador.
Not in my fed, or it won't be.
We'll throw that match out if it happens.
That Mike Fortune, he gets lost in the shuffle.
It's the old Broc Atkinson screw job.
Yeah, there it is. Didn't exist.
The Pittsburgh screw job.
Yeah. Here's Lance Atlas.
Well, we never did see the reimagined Matador, did we?
I couldn't find it. I was looking while we were talking. I couldn't find it. It must have been. They always keep a couple back to hold off until the set releases. That must have been one of them.
Yeah, I don't own the reimagined sets online, so I can't bring it up.
I have the physical cards, but I'll never find them in time.
Oh man, lost in the shuffle.
They're lost in the shuffle, literally.
It's going to be our new slogan. Just lost.
Yeah, it's just lost in the shuffle.
But now, here's $1 million question: how do you power creep the Matador?
Oh gosh. At a 4th level 3.
The only thing I can think of is his level 1 move, his level 6 move on level 1 offense.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a down.
Yeah, it's a choice C, which is a pretty high chance of being a level 3 move, but
like, or you could up his finisher.
It's already a +3.
It's already a +3.
Give him an add 1 somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. I'd move the 1-leg karate kick down to number 6 and make it an add 1 move.
Would you make it a 2-leg karate kick then?
Yep, make it a 2-leg karate kick.
The real question is then who has a more powerful karate kick, him or Lance Atlas? They both have the karate kick.
Well, Matador's puts you down though.
They both do. Well, Lance's is on his level 3 offense though.
Well, it is a double leg one too. You got to imagine Matador uses
Well, it just
both
says
legs.
karate kick. It doesn't say how many legs he uses.
Oh, okay.
He could be doing the jumping, that kick.
Now, what if we gave Matador only 1 down 3, got rid of that one at number 4 on level 3 defense? Then he's matched up with Lance as far as the defense, but he'll have a much stronger offense.
And make him ridiculous, though.
You said power creep. Removing 1 down and making it a hurt. That's a creep.
I would add 1 to Matador Death Run.
What is the Matador Death Run?
Wow.
A bullwhip is a DDT, apparently.
Do they tell us?
I might in the book. I don't remember.
It's a bulldog.
It doesn't tell you what the signature moves are. It just says the finisher here.
Yeah,
the bullwhip is a DDT.
So he was signaling. Really arrogant, just signaling. Here comes the DDT. Jake the Snake-esque.
And yeah, I had him coming in at 6'3", another 255 pounds.
They have him listed as 6'3", 261.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah,
pretty close.
He's only 10 pounds heavier than Lance Atlas, but he's 2 inches taller.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little more svelte.
I'm surprised that both of those guys have a better agility than power.
I mean, at that size, you think they'd be really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of that in the GWF, honestly. You think they'd be powerful, but they're quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the one that really shocked me on that was Colossus. He was fast.
Well, he's made of metallic upgrades, so
Yeah.
I don't know. That doesn't make sense. I tried.
It just threw me off when I saw his stuff. He's 6'3", 264, almost same as Matador, but he's a -3 agility and a 0 power. I was like, wait, he's metal.
Or there's some guys that look just mad, like Mitsuko looks like he's just a beast.
Yeah.
+3 power. What?
Oh yeah, there's definitely somebody else I was thinking of just like that the other day, but I don't remember who it was now. I'm like, he's got to be powerful. Look at that. Nope, gets all from the bottle. It's on the roids.
Yeah.
Just looks it, not really powerful.
Just a bodybuilder.
So now we'll slip into our topic of how do you build a card? How do you go about building your cards?
Oh no, I just lost my video for a second.
Uh-oh.
All right, we're good. We're back on.
Good.
Don't know what happened. It flickered. So who wants to go first on this? Is that my job since I'm the guest?
Well,
sure.
I have 6 promotions, and I do how I build the cards is different for every last one of them.
Okay, so I'm going to say how I do it, and I'm going to take a nap, and I'll come back on like the 4th one. How's that sound?
Okay.
No. So building a card. So for me, my cards, I use a lot of old WWF stuff. I really do. I historically look back at WWF cards in the time period I'm wanting. Right now, I kind of mimic a lot of Attitude Era, not so much the skits or anything. Obviously, I don't have, Bishop Hell riding in on a Zamboni or anything, but just the fact, the layouts. I do my weekly cards. I have 4 matches. I'll throw in some segments in between, but I kind of base those on old Raws, the early Raws especially. I don't want more than 4 matches, and then usually a couple segments, maybe a commissioner spot, something like that. But then this is the truly thing that people are probably going to be appalled at, but I build everything around it. This game to me is randomization. I love the dice rolling. I love you don't know what's going to happen. I randomize who's going to face who on each card for my weekly cards.
Okay.
And I also randomize who's going to be on each segment, and then I envision what I would do with them in that situation. I literally lay out my roster of, let's say, I think right now it's 32 singles wrestlers. If it's a single wrestler in a backstage segment, I randomize who's it going to be with a randomizer. It brings me up the top name, and that's who I use. So some guys get a little more TV time. They get a little more sway. Some of them don't, but it's completely random, and I base my fed around that. The monthly shows, though, are the big shows, the super cards, the pay-per-views, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what they'll be in 2100. I use my rankings for. That's where you get the exact top-tier guys. That's where their matchups comes in. For that, I still use a lot of old WWF and WCW, especially stuff, because that's what I grew up on. My current one is going to be an old Royal Rumble feel. But yeah, I just kind of substitute in. I kind of build that. They're like the building blocks of a pay-per-view. Like nobody knows how to do it better than WWF to me. I grew up on it. I love it. So I mimic that a lot in WCW as well. Now I'll throw in different things. Like if there's a specialty match, I'll choose the specialty match that it is instead of just taking what they did. But as far as card layout, I follow that quite a bit. But that's not randomized. It's based 100% my rankings based on the weekly shows. So, I mean, I love the randomization of the weekly cards. I really do. It makes so many matchups, and then I have to be creative. It forces me to say, okay, if Mutant's supposed to interact with this guy, or if, especially when the commissioner wants nothing to do with him, if they're not a top tier guy and they're trying to get Commissioner Carter's attention, that makes for some fun situations for me. Like Doomsayer last year really was trying to get his attention, but he wasn't beating anybody. And then he ends up at the end of the year, spoiler alert. Can you say spoiler alert like 30 years after? But anyway, he blames it all on Tendron. I couldn't get Commissioner Carter's attention because you were, in my way. You were blocking me. You weren't doing your job, so it was taking away from my focus. And now I'm going to hire a new bodyguard. Like that was fun for me because in no shape or form was Doomsayer supposed to be interacting with Commissioner Carter because he wasn't over. So to me, it was like him begging for that TV time, trying to make himself relevant.
Yeah.
And that would never happen if I wasn't randomized. I'm just not creative enough. There are people out there that are creative. I read their feds. They're fantastic. I'm sure they have their own way. And I'm sure I'm going to hear two fantastic people coming up, but unless they get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm too mathematical. I'm too systematic. And that allows me to be creative from what happens. And it's almost like a dice roll to me.
That's cool.
See, Brock, you go because you have your GWF, but then you have your NDW stuff, which is online, which is complete chaos.
Yeah, it's been ridiculous. For NDW right now, I decided my booking on who's left because in the past 3 weeks, the feud tables come up on just about every match. So half the Fed's out on suspension, the other half is injured. So I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel to see who's left. But how I lay out a card is I do 6 to 7 matches. I have 2 separate shows per week. And I had 6 to 7 matches on each show. And I lay out all the matches. And I pick the match that has the most importance. And that's going to be the main event. Like if it's a number 1 contenders match or a secondary title match, whatever. I never have the main titles on the line unless it's a super card. But whatever match has the most importance, that's what I make the main event. Even it doesn't have to be the most, over the highest ranked guys or anything like that, or the champion. It's just whichever one has the most importance at that time. And then I try and throw in like 2 tag matches, a women's match, and then the rest just straight up one-on-one matches. I don't do a lot of specialty matches unless they're super cards, because I kind of see it as a TV show, and then you're building to the super pay-per-view or whatever. But and then what I do is after I'm done, like after I put the card together, all the cards I didn't use go into a pile, and then those guys have to be used on the next card so that they don't get lost in the shuffle. But that's how I do it. And then super cards, every title's on the line, building up to the main title. And all my title matches, all my main title matches, the secondary titles are not like this, but all my main title matches are 2 out of 3 falls, just so you don't get that fluke victory. So I do that for all my main titles, the main tag title, main singles title, but then all the other titles are just 1 fall to a finish. There's a gimmick title where it's no disqualification, that kind of thing. But so I try and then I space it out. So like, I don't want to stack 3 tag matches back to back to back. So I want to put the variety, spread things out, stuff like that. But the match with the most importance is always the main event. And I always start with a potential squash match, but lately they've been the people who are supposed to get squashed are winning the matches because it's all shoot. It all depends on how the dice want to roll, but
in some galaxies, Mike Fortune beats the Matador.
It happens.
It does.
Hey, Pete Beck just posted that was it Plethador beat Chaos.
That happened for me. I've shared the story. I don't know if Jeff has heard this story, but I've shared that on here. I was trying to get my gaming group at the comic book store into the game. So I set up a card and I was Plethador, and I got one of my friends play Chaos Supreme. I'm like, he's going to squash me. He's going to get hooked on this. I beat him in like 3 moves with Plethador. You knew this guy sucked. You gave me the worst character. Like, no, that's not what it was. So then we played through the rest of the card, and then we had a rematch. Like, I swear this Chaos guy is like the best guy in the game. So we play it again. I beat him again with Plethador. I'm like, I'm done. It's like, you guys play by yourselves.
Well, for me, my GWF, I have 10 matches on every card. All my 3 titles are defended, and then I do 3 feud matches, 2 singles and a tag. And then I mix in singles and tags, but it always opens up with a talk show. Just to get
Raw.
Yeah, just to get the mood of the show going on.
Mm-hmm.
And the NGA has the same format. My CPC, the lower tier one, and I do the same thing as Jeff. All the non-feud and non-title matches are just random. I just good guy stack, bad guy stack. I roll. Oh, they're fighting. Oh, they're fighting. And then you can build up. Sometimes if guys are feuding, so you have stable versus stable, and it might be U.S. Patriot versus Death's Head or something like that. So they're in the same stables, but they're they don't like each other. So it could add later on down. A tag match could happen out of it.
Yeah.
The CPC, I use a lot of the same format, but because I have so many guys, that some of the guys, you don't get lost in the shuffle, because once you're wrestled, you get set aside and the new guys have to wrestle. So instead of wrestling every, some guys can wrestle every card, there, you might not only wrestle every 2 cards or 3 cards. And then with my women's fed, since there's not a lot of women, I run kind of the same format. I only have a singles and tag. And so every other card, a title is defended. And for my Hollywood promotion, I run that exactly like I would run an indie promotion. So my title matches, I don't even always have a title match on the card. Because sometimes it doesn't happen. Because I only have a few wrestlers. There's only like 12 wrestlers that I have.
Yeah.
I broke it up into how Grant has them released. And so I've had to get creative, where I told you where I had the same guys wrestle 3 times on a card, and it just it worked out perfect.
You don't put them in a mask and make them come out as a different character or anything?
No.
That doesn't happen.
I was booking a show, and we were short wrestlers, and I'm like, hey, I have an idea. You guys start off. The heel gets disqualified just by mistake. He goes and goes to haul off and hit, and hits the ref. Referee disqualifies him like 25 seconds into a match. He's livid. He demands a rematch. So we have another one out. They come out again, and the guy starts yelling at the referee again. Hey, stay away from me. If I'm, I want you in the corner. I don't want you anywhere near the match. And the face just rolls him up for a quick match. Boom, boom, boom. It's over. And he's like, the bell didn't even go. And but you counted the match, and so they, then we bring them out, and then they actually have their whole match. But the fans get to see 3 matches, and it worked out perfect. And all the matches end really quickly, and it was good. And then for my my legends, because I'm restarting my legends. I've restarted a couple times. I'm never happy with my legends and how it's working.
It's hard to play.
It is, and so what I did, because I used my point system, so I got 2 4-point guys, a bunch of 3-point guys, some 2-point guys, and 1-point guys, like Frogman, LeBlanc, and Mr. X. They're my 1-point guys, because I haven't ordered the jobber set yet. And I'm literally going to do that. Like the lower mid, so the 3 and 4-point guys are going to take on you know, the 1 and 2 point guys, and you know, you slowly got to work your way up to these guys. And so I'm going to build old WF style. You know, there might only be six to 8 matches on a card, but you know, you might have Harley Race versus Frogman LeBlanc. You know, at the opening of the match, you know, he just squashes him because you know he's building up to the title match.
Right.
You know, and the Road Warriors could take on two of the other guys who are the lower tier guys. And so that's what I plan on doing with that. So that's how I build my cards for all 6 promotions.
All 6.
All 6. Imagine if I only played one, I'd be caught up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only currently playing my streaming fed.
I'm playing 2100, but I did go all last year. I think I went from 2095 to 2100, so I'm making progress. So I'm trying to play a match or card every night, something.
I'm impressed that you're using Caddy. I haven't seen anybody really use him that often. I use him. I think he's great.
Well, he was used. I mean, he's technically in the gallery on COTG Online, and he's honestly a lot better than I thought he would be. And he's, you know, I like those standalone characters that really don't have any affiliation. I know he was kind of more of a heel to most people, but I use him as like the anti-hero middle ground. You know, he can take on anybody.
I used him with Homicide, one of Steve Minskoff's characters, and I called him the Bruise Crew because they were just 2 big brawlers.
Mm-hmm.
And I pictured him as kind of like, you know, New Jack and King Haku as a tag team.
That would be interesting.
Oh, it was they were a crazy team. And but you know, when I did my whole 3 feds, Caddy got sent back down to the minors, the CPC, and he won the heavyweight championship. So he got bumped up to the NGA. So he's actually, you know, fighting his way up. But yeah, I like watching. I look at your fed. And I do scroll that. You know, I don't go on the boards too often. But if people post their fed results, I go through their fed results. And I read yours, Thomas Keen's when he posts them. And I saw that Lee Longpree is now restarting his fed.
Yeah, I just saw that post today.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. I like when people do it and you're like, oh yeah, this is how they're doing it. It's always good.
And that's why we have character spotlights.
Yep,
that's right. So nobody gets lost in the shuffle.
Lost in the shuffle. That's what I was gonna say.
So we should wrap this up here. We still got some time.
Jeff, is there anything you'd like to plug?
No. Watch Broc streams because they're awesome.
Thank you. I see you there every week.
Yeah, sometimes I hop on occasionally.
What's your screen name?
My screen name
on Twitch.
On Twitch, I don't know. It's my daughter's account, honestly. I've never actually had Twitch. Am I old now?
I have Twitch. Come on.
You're the same age as me. You're not like him. Not like him.
He's lost in the shuffle.
I am. I'm sorry.
That's where Jeff Manning was. Who's Jeff Manning? Lost in the shuffle.
It's gone.
Every time you look up, I'm getting that Brady Bunch vibe.
The youngest one in curls.
I'll be 40 this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Everything starts hurting.
No, it's been that way since 30. So figure I'm on my last couple of legs here. You know, just.
That's a sad way to end the podcast.
Yeah. So let's bring that back around. Okay.
Maybe cut that out.
Yeah. Now we'll leave it in there. People know what's up.
I'm gonna start.
All right. Where's he going?
I don't know where did he go?
What happened? I was about to do the.
And Mike has officially been lost in the shuffle.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, there we go.
After we hang up, this is what I'm starting.
Nice.
Are we showing off Lego stuff?
I don't have any Lego stuff right here. Sorry.
I do a bag a day, and I'm going to do the bag a day for the Millennium Falcon.
I got a mountain windmill.
Nice.
Is that real Lego or is that Bricklink?
That's Bricklink.
Bricklink is real Lego.
Or is it?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Yep. They we'll talk about it after we get off the air. But anyway, check out all the links in the description below. We have a bunch of podcasts and other YouTube channels and other content. We have the official Filsinger Games podcast, Roll Up. The Legends team's Uncharted Territory. Lee Longpre, who we've mentioned a couple times, has a podcast. He's on YouTube now too, so I need to make sure I need to find that link and get that on there.
Subscribe.
Yeah, check out all this stuff. Lee does good work.
We got Lee from 3 to I think 7 or 8 subscribers now.
Awesome. And he's consistent. He deserves more of a following because he gets his content out there every week. So give him a follow. Check out his stuff. Check out Grant's solo promoter, Dave Little's Fed, that he runs live, I believe, on Saturday nights on YouTube. Check that out. The link's below. And I think I've mentioned everybody. And again, if you have Filsinger Games related content, please shoot us a message. We'd love to include it in our links below so we can get the word out for your content and spread the word about this game that we all love.
I think that is it.
All right. So until next week, have a great one, everybody.
Good night, everyone.